Greetings and welcome to another Final Fantasy XIV video. Today, we are taking a look at the bosses inside Baelsar's wall, along with their abilities and the tactics you should employ in order to take them down with as little suffering as possible. Without further ado, let's get to it. Now, the first boss inside the wall is called the Magitech Predator. This boss has 4 main abilities. The first is the Magitech Claw. This will target the person with the current aggro and deal medium amounts of damage, nothing to worry about there. The second is the adds that will come down from the sky. They have the same ability as the mobs out that were right before the boss, called the Magitech Hook. This ability deals around 1600 damage per second to whoever they decide to hook onto, so they need to go down fast. Third is the Giant Laser Beam. This is actually the easiest ability to dodge, however, if you happen to get hit by it for any reason, it will be between 15 and 1600 points of damage. Lastly, there is his Missile Barrage. In the beginning he will only target one person, but later on he will target 2, and this ability deals around 9000 damage to each one. Now if you put all this together, you have the missiles, the adds coming from the sky that will deal to around 2000 damage per second, the Giant Laser Beam, and the Magitech Claw on the tank, and you can be overwhelmed if you're not paying attention or if people aren't using their proper cooldowns when they need to. Other than that, this boss is pretty straightforward. Adds first, boss second, avoid Giant Laser of Death, and you should be good to go. Now, the second boss inside the wall is called the Armored Weapon, and this one has a much more wide array of abilities that you need to look out for. The first is called Launcher. It's a party-wide AoE, not much you can do about it, either use a shield or heal through it. It's really not much. Now, the second one is called the Motion Tracking System? No, the Dynamic Sensory Jammer. Now, what this one does is it gives you the Extreme Caution debuff, and any action add-on, especially movement, will make it so that you are blown into the air and take around 15,000 points of damage. After that, you will be stunned for around 4 seconds, and if he decides to target you with that, the multi-laser thingamajig, you are pretty much not surviving unless your healer is on the ball. Lastly, there is this. Actually, no, there's something else besides this. Now, all these little guys, they don't hit that hard. They hit for around 400 or 500. However, there is a lot of them. So do your tank a favor and put as much AoE as you can on them. Unfortunately, as a ninja, that's all I have, but luckily we take a lot of them down very quickly, so not much happens. Now, lastly, there is what is called the Bit Grid. Well, I'm not really sure what it's called, but he summons a bunch of little Magitech bits to the sides of the arena on 2 sides. Now, these will create a type of lattice of targeted areas around the entire arena. Now, the easy way to avoid these areas is that the little red dots on the arena that you can see right below the boss, those are absolutely always guaranteed to be safe zones. So if you want, here it is, the Magitech Laser Grid. Now, as you can see, me and the others are already standing near the red dots so we can avoid them. You only have around 1 second to avoid the areas, as you can see, but just like I said, the red dots on the arena are always safe. Or you can go all the way off to a corner. Either way, avoid that, it's really easy. And yeah, this boss requires a lot of paying attention, especially during the motion tracking activated phase. That's why you see me run a few steps away and then turn completely around. That way I don't even auto-attack him and get blown up just like that. Now luckily she had some type of shield and she got also hit by a laser. She was lucky, or he was lucky. So as you can see, that is the most dangerous thing in this fight. Hopefully you learn to avoid it and to not move. Now if you have lag problems, there's not much you can do. Just anticipate or be as far away as possible so that just turning around and facing away is enough. But yeah, that is the armored weapon. And now onto the final boss. Now, the final boss of the wall is the Griffin, something related to the story that I don't want to spoil you. Now, this guy has a very large amount of attacks. The first is that, the beak of the Griffin. Party-wide AoE, can't avoid it, so either just shield or heal through it. Then there's that, the flash powder. If you're looking in his direction, you will be stunned for a couple of seconds. Then there's this. I'm not really sure what to call that. Oh, Sanguine Blade, that's what it is. As you can see, he dodges to one side of the arena and then will hit pretty much everything else from there forward. Now, right now it was very simple. However, later on in the fight, he will dart to one place and then dart to another place. And even then, it's still a little tricky to follow him around, especially with all the AoEs. Now, lastly, there's this, the Lion's Head. Now, this is pretty much a bunch of weak AoEs falling down on you. However, then they blow up just like so, and the swords become attackable. Now, everybody always aims for the middle sword. This gives you the largest area of save zones so that when they trigger, you don't get blown up. However, during this phase, you still need to watch out for the rest of his attacks. Then we have that. He targets a random DPS and then boots them to the edge of the arena. Now, if you don't have any form of quick instant teleportation or something, you can still get back just by running. Of course, getting back sooner means more damage and everything else. And lastly, he has, for the tank to worry about, the Claw of the Griffin. He will literally do the level 1 limit break on the tank. Now, that is a tank buster, so be ready to heal through it or dodge it. And actually, lastly, is the Restrained Collar. This will always target the healer, and needs to go down quickly because, as you can see, after about 10 seconds, the healer will be insta-KO'd. There's no coming back from that. Well, if somebody else has revived, she could, but that's going to be very difficult. Now, as you can see, right there for this Sanguine Blade, it was extremely close cut for me because we were on the other side of the arena, and two of them got hit. So as you can see, the best bet for this fight is to keep him in the center so that when he does do Sanguine Blade, you can catch up to him no matter where he goes. Other than that, there is the Claw of the Griffin right there, slash. As you can see, the tank lost about half his HP from that attack. And then the Lancet again, and these attacks will repeat in non-sequential order at random throughout the rest of the encounter. Now, obviously, the most important thing here is get the save zone from the center sword, then help out your healer if he gets chained up so that he doesn't die. And other than that, it's avoid the AoEs from the Sanguine Blade and avoid his stun from this flash powder. Now, it may take you a little bit to understand the signs of every single attack. Here he is booting me to the edge of the arena. Luckily, I'm a ninja and I can just shumpo back in. And yeah. And as you can see, during that giant flash of something, he started doing a Sanguine Blade. So you need to be prepared to follow him around and be able to see his name through the special effects of the fight so that you can actually get to him in time and avoid the Sanguine Blade attack. Now, as you can see, the fight looks a little chaotic, but once you do it 2 or 3 times, you start getting the hang of it. And really, it's become pretty much a standard fight now. Hopefully this guy helps you out, and hopefully you take him down just as easily as we did. It took us a little bit longer than I'm used to, but still no casualties. Aha, there's the double dash as I told you. So yeah, that is the Griffin, and that is Baelsar's Wall. Hopefully you find this video useful in going in for the first time or multiple times, and I will see you next time.